Crypto, guys, it's making me laugh. Okay, why is it making me laugh for? I'm going to share this with you. I've got a bunch of charts to share with you as well today. This is going to be more of a conversational video rather than a video where I'm going to try to teach you something, but better yet, there is also charts in a moment that I guess will teach you something. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was crypto and the state of where we are right now. Not just in the charts, but also how you're likely feeling. As someone like myself who's just in crypto as a user and as someone who wants to make money, it's very easy for us to get caught up in an everyday side of things where we're stuck in our offices or we're stuck, working our job and checking CoinMarketCap on our phones every 2 seconds, and we get in our own little worlds, especially if you don't have a crypto friend group. Even if you have a crypto friend group, it's very difficult to know things are actually progressing, right? You look at charts like this that shows the crypto adoption versus the internet adoption in terms of the years, the first 10 years at least, and we're destroying the internet. But yet it doesn't feel like anything's actually happening. Again, many people are out here saying, guys, there's no more retail in the market. This is all the old people. It's been in the market for 3 or 4 years. There's no new money coming in. Okay, you hear this stuff and you begin believing this time's different for the worst. You begin believing that this bull market may not happen, including the news that's going on right now. Okay, I get it. But look, I recently came back from Token 2049, one of the largest crypto events that happens bi-yearly, and I can safely say right now, this thing is moving and it's moving quickly. Every time I go to one of these events, there just seems to be more and more people and more enthusiastic people. We're not talking about the stereotypical crypto blockchain nerds sitting in their room playing video games and trying to build a blockchain. That's okay, by the way. We're not sort of pointing fingers here, but that's the stereotype in crypto. Let me tell you, there's a lot of really, really awesome people out there that just love being in the industry, love innovating, and love being along for the journey, all right? There's a massive community we have here. And again, like this chart shows, in December of next year, there's supposed to be about an approximate 1.1 billion people in the space, a 43% annual growth rate versus the internet's 500 million after their first 10 years. Okay, so over double. Now, again, even if this was 75% correct, we are going to see a lot more people in the market at the right time. Of course, we have to have new beginners in the space in order to make money. So I wanted to make a very little quick point at the very start of this video. It makes me laugh because talking to myself here for a second, every time I go to one of these events, it reminds me that I'm stuck in my office working on videos, working on learning and research and all that sort of stuff all day, every day. I don't have a friend group, unfortunately, in real life that I can go and mingle with. So I'm caught up in my own mind, often thinking to myself, hang on, is this really going to happen, right? Is crypto really going to have a massive bull run for this year? Are we going to really make that much money? Okay, it's easy to think maybe not, especially if you start listening to the wrong crowds of people, okay? Don't just take my word for it. And don't just, again, go to one of these events and think, there's about 1,000 people here. It must be pretty good. Let's have a look at the charts to prove that point even further. Before I do, if you haven't already, hit that like button, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Tells me you enjoy the content. Makes me want to keep making the content for you, and it makes my day. Hit the subscribe button as well, because that makes my day even better. Okay, so you've seen this chart a million times. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but basically, if you're of the mindset of, this bull run's different, we're not on track, blah, blah, blah. Well, we are on track, matter of fact. We're a little too on track, actually, if that's even a thing, all right? With the black line over here. So the black line represents where we are in the current cycle based on the lows down here from about, start of last year, basically 2023. And if we zoom in, the green line here is the last cycle. The blue line was the cycle before, so 2018 cycle. And we can see we're pretty much exactly on track to where we need to be, all right? Yeah, there's a few hiccups along the way. No one expects this to be exactly perfect between all the different cycles. But yes, guess what happens immediately after this point in time? Okay, it all goes up. Now, again, whether we go up exactly to the same degree and we end up having our all-time high over here in quarter 4 of 2025 or not, doesn't really matter. Okay, we're going to likely have a bull run. Once this, let's just say, shitstorm is all dissipated, that's happening right now. It's an unfortunate shitstorm, mind you. I'm not trying to downplay this, but the market tends to sort of process it and then it kind of just keeps moving forward. Once that happens, I think we'll be all fine and dandy. But again, don't just take one chart or my sort of spiel on this for face value. I want to point out something very interesting here that I want you guys to really soak in. When we eventually have this bull run, guess what? We're going to likely see a massive altcoin run that people are starting to say is starting already, but I don't think so. We're going to see an altcoin run like we haven't ever seen before. Our altcoins, where many of us are saying, well, Kyron, these prices you're calling for are bombastic, ludicrous, ridiculous, okay? I actually disagree because we haven't seen the true shift in terms of Bitcoin dominance here in orange plummet to where then the Ethereum BTC dominance, if you will, begins to go up, like we did in the last cycle over here. I'll get rid of my head. Okay, so what happened in the last cycle to kick off the altcoin rally was we had Bitcoin's dominance just fall through the absolute floor, kind of just move sideways for a bit, while of course in that same time, Ethereum relative to Bitcoin skyrocketed. Matter of fact, if we actually come and have a look at this chart over here, in this bolded black line, we have the total crypto market cap. And in this light orange color, if you can barely see that, that's obviously Bitcoin's market cap dominance. In this purplish color, we have every single altcoin other than the top 10 market dominance. And in this reddish color, we have Ethereum's dominance. Now, what I want to point out is at that same time, when Bitcoin's dominance begins to plummet through the floor, of course, like I just proved, we also have Ethereum's market dominance begin to rocket, of course, because people sell their Bitcoin, and what do? As we know, they buy Ethereum. But here's a very notable thing, of course. What tends to happen after that is we have our altcoins kind of follow Ethereum's lead. This is Ethereum here. Okay, so it's following Ethereum's lead, and then Ethereum begins to go down, and alts rocket, and then Ethereum kind of catches up afterwards. And you can actually track this. This happens the whole way through the whole entire bull run. And that's, of course, why we need to be very, very careful and mindful of following things like this here, the Altseason money flow chart, where, again, Bitcoin, Ethereum then leads, pulls back a bit. Large caps take precedence. Then within the large caps, we find narratives begin forming clear directions where the money will flow to next. Solana ecosystem, AI, deepen, these pop off. Those of us sitting back, waiting, chilling, relaxing now, buying these coins when they're low, will reap our rewards at that time. And then from these narratives, of course, the large caps in the narrative will pop off, and then the small caps in those narratives will pop off. This will fizzle away, and the money will flow back likely into the large caps, finding a new narrative. And this cycle, rinses and repeats and rinses and repeats. We haven't had that just yet, guys. Okay, so there's the same chart just zoomed into where we are right now. Bitcoin has not fallen through. Oops, my pen won't draw at this point. But Bitcoin hasn't been able to fall through just yet. We're looking for Bitcoin to absolutely plummet like it did back over here, where it kind of rose for a while, took the lead, pulled the market up with it. Hey, guys, we're having a bull run, mind you. And then, was just sucked dry by Ethereum. Okay, when that happens, Ethereum will then take that lead first, pull down, alts will follow Ethereum to begin with, and then Ethereum will fall and alts will rip. We kind of experienced a little bit of it over here with Ethereum, but again, alts never really had that massive pump like we once thought they did. So we have a lot on the horizon here, and I think those people calling for Altseason, this is a very clear, in my personal opinion, indicator of when it'll likely happen. But guys, it just gets juicier from here. Let me remind you, BlackRock is heavily involved in the success of crypto these days because it is buying Bitcoin. Of course, it wants to pump its own damn bags, don't we all? Now, in this presentation to its Brazil investors recently, they pit Bitcoin up against gold and treasuries, trying to highlight that Bitcoin is so small compared to these, and yet it is doing things so much better in many different ways. Now, I love this chart. It's fantastic. Again, they're making the point for people to jump ship and consider Bitcoin, which is overall net positive for crypto. Obviously, they're trying to push people into their ETF as well. But one thing I must say, and I just have to nitpick here, is that gold, I don't think, is decentralized. But guys, if you think about it, really think about it, if you were a whale and you had a large network of other whales and groups that you were friends with, and they nudged you on the shoulder and said, hey, Jimmy, by the way, you should really get involved in this particular asset because we're going to be buying it and it's going to do really well very soon. Would you not go to yourself, yeah, sure, these guys are wealthy, I trust them, they're my friends, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. I've got plenty of money to do that anyway. Okay, in the same respects, if you do that, wouldn't you also nudge your other wealthy friends or even just friends in general and say, hey guys, these guys told me about something really interesting, you should get involved as well. It's how these rich elites get richer. They're all friends, they're all connected, and they're connected through someone else. It's like a network effect. Well, this chart here, I think, realizes that very, very well. The realized market cap for new whales, basically, this massive purple skyline over here, looks like a skyline, right? The chart shows in purple new Bitcoin whales. So whales have been buying astronomical amounts, and new whales at that, actually, since early this year, in February. It's literally skyrocketed. So they know something's up. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here and think that there's no new money in the space or no one's interested in crypto anymore. But I do want to point out, Credible Crypto, a sort of channel guest, has pointed out we might actually have one more flush down before we finally move up, which would be healthy. Okay, people think a flush down is bad. It's healthy. We need to have these pull downs in order for the market to be able to spring up so much, okay? It's crypto. We can't have 5% down, 1,000% up. These needs to come down We need to pull out the liquidations, okay? We need to liquidate people. Unfortunately, it's how it all works, right? Have a look into it. This is the liquidation heat map, all right? We do have quite a few liquidations that the market might want to get rid of before we decide to move up here, okay? So think about it like that. Now, if I actually zoom out, we'll notice that this had to happen somewhat recently as well. Back over here in August, where we kind of cleared the liquidations at the around 50K level. Literally hit that liquidation and then came up. So this is a very legitimate way of thinking. Now, I don't think entirely Credible's thought process is entirely to clear all the liquidations that have come up between here and there. But ultimately, again, he's calling for lower price. Don't always look to one trader. I love Credible, and I think he's got a lot of experience up his sleeve, so I do take his information seriously. But don't look at this as a guaranteed way that market has to come down here to like 49K or some ridiculously low level to clear liquidations and then come up. But it is something to think about, okay? So some of you may know that Bitcoin is eerily following the M2 money supply, okay, the global liquidity, and it makes a lot of sense. It's eerily following it, right? When global liquidity goes down or up, Bitcoin tends to follow. And if I actually pull up here the year-on-year percentage growth of the global liquidity, we can see that they pretty much have the indication here of the bull runs, essentially, right? The lows, and in high green, the bull run. Okay, so when global liquidity is at highs, when they're just flooding the markets, flooding the central banks with money, Bitcoin has its all-time high, essentially, right? We pumped up those highs. It's kind of crazy. So again, this works in cycles, and this goes far back as well before the 1970s, right? It kind of follows these 4-year cycles, up and down, and it's pretty crazy. Now, right on the cusp of this massive move to the upside. So again, global liquidity is good. That means that Bitcoin is going to follow, and that way we can hopefully expect here that Bitcoin begins to, peak once again. And it is good to see, that hump starting to likely form over here already. Most of you know that already. Most of you know about the 18-year housing market cycle as well. The housing market cycle likely has been going on for far longer than this global liquidity, sort of cycle index. And we are likely going to have a massive so-called winner's curse here in the next 12 to 18 months, 2 years. So this is coming up. Now we also have this chart here as well as the MBRVZ score chart. I'm going to keep it quite simple. I've shown these a few times. Basically, this just tells us when the Bitcoin tops are likely to happen. Now this has called it every single time to the exact top, and we've got nowhere near that yet. Now again, indicators are only as accurate until they aren't. So we can't use these as like, yep, that's definitely how it is. And, we haven't had our top yet. But these are just, again, a few different indicators that go to prove the point that we likely have the best still to come. I mean, I can pull up 1,000 different charts here. I really can. I can sit here all day and pull up all the best charts. And if I'm bearish, I can pull up 1,000,000 bearish charts and try to sway you either way. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to say for you guys to jump in and ape in, or again, listen to Credible or listen to the liquidation heat mapping and say, we can expect to move down before up, and then you can get in your head. I think the best thing to do here is to zoom out. Think about it through the lens of adoption. And I think this industry is going to be prosperous no matter what. And given that you haven't gone too far in, okay, where you got like your entire life in it, even your mortgage of your house, you shouldn't really be stressing too much. Not yet anyway. We have a long way to go still. And if something happens in between now and then guess what? We can make that decision when the time comes, when we're given new information, okay? Thank you all for listening to this whole video. I hope you have enjoyed a bit more of a discussion rather than a sort of, I guess, a formal video, if you will. Whatever that is, right? Talk to you all soon. Take care.